Come to me, all those who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Welcome to episode 3 of my series on generational curses, incest, sexual abuse. I had to take a few days, more than a few days, and breathe and renew my mind and my spirit. I haven't been able to sleep since talking about this. I have been met with much criticism, talking about these things that people are afraid and uncomfortable talking about these things that dredge up a whole lot of painful memories for a lot of people, yet and still they need to be resolved in a lot of our lives, and sweeping them under the rug is not the solution. Dive right in and talk about what healing looks like. Let's talk about what confronting these types of things look like. And I am the face of them. You see how round my face is? Because I've been gaining weight. I'm sitting home and I'm eating and I'm seeking comfort in food and seeking comfort in comfort foods, mashed potatoes and pizza and fattening foods that are unhealthy. And then when I go to exercise, I'm unmotivated because now I'm thinking about all of these things that happened to me and sporadically crying and having flashbacks and bad memories. So why talk about these things, Aaron? Why not just leave the past in the past and keep it moving? Well, because these things of the past have continued to spill over into the present, and I am forced to face these things because my children are dealing with them, and I don't want them to sweep these things under the rug. I want these children to grow up and be healthy adults, emotionally, psychologically, financially, physically, and these types of things will affect them in every area and aspect of their lives as they have me. And I've just come to a point where I'm just ready to heal. I'm tired of hurt, and I'm tired of these things spilling over into other parts of my life that need to be happy and healthy. And so that is why I'm putting myself through this. I'm ready to heal. And healing is, in fact, messy. It looks like wanting to stay in the bed all day and forcing yourself to get up. It looks like waking up and eating in the middle of the night because you are seeking comfort and no one is awake. And when you don't have a support system, you can't cry to your children when you are supposed to be the strong one and the one for them to lean on. It looks like mood swings and staying in your pajamas all day and not wanting to be bothered. Like self-pep talks, because even though you may feel like you are crumbling and falling to pieces emotionally, your kids need you and you have to be mommy for them. It looks like pain, guilt, shame, regret. It looks like talking to God and seeking comfort. Being criticized by friends and family members who feel like this is way too personal for you to be publicizing and putting it out there for other people to hear. It looks like being brave and being strong and pushing yourself to do episode 3 because you have really struggled with pain and memories of the past that you are dredging up when everybody else thinks that you should just continue to keep quiet and suffer in silence. Giving a rat's ass about what people think, because as my mom would say, what you eat don't make me shit. Okay? It's about keeping it 100 and being strong and being brave and knowing that you are one of the millions of sacrificial lambs that God has not only called but chosen to tell your story so that you can save somebody's life, and it is long overdue. So we don't have time to be caring about what people think when this is our lives, and we have to pull it all the way together, especially for our children. Okay? We ain't got time to be worrying about what people think. What they think ain't some of the realest shit I've spoken. Okay? Now, we're going to get into it, because you know what else it looks like? It looks like losing 60 pounds, okay? And gaining confidence and freedom and a higher self-esteem and self-image taking back everything that the enemy has stolen from us through these experiences, okay? It looks like forgiveness of self and the people who did this to us. That's a big thing. That's a great thing. It's a huge thing, and we are on our way there. So let's get started. Let's get dirty. Let's talk. Let's be real. Let's dig in with you. And I got permission from my girlfriends, as long as they remain anonymous, that it's fine to share the story because it's gonna help somebody. It helped me. It always helps to share and to let others know that they are not alone. Hey, you are not alone, babe. Story is of a little girl, elementary school age, whose mother is having sexual relations in the bed while the child is laying there. And the boyfriend, who was being intimate with the mother, decides to reach over and fondle the little girl as a child. Not only does he fondle her while he is having sex with her mom, he later starts performing oral sex on her when her mom. It's very scary because this is a big, strong, grown man, and how can I make him stop doing this, and why is he doing this, and what is this? And then it goes from that to, wait a minute, this feels kind of good. Oh, wow, this feels amazing. By the grace of God, he was no longer involved with mom. Got kicked out before the child ended up going to middle school because he was prepping her, he was preparing her, he was getting her ready for sexual intercourse, okay? He was getting her ready, he was preparing her for this. This child, in turn, started doing these things to other little girls to show them what it is that she wanted performed on her, and then turn to a life of homosexuality to get that feeling. This shit gets deep. It goes deep and it gets dark, and that is why the healing process is messy. And she never confronted her mom. And it's hard for me as a woman to believe that being intimate with a man, you don't know where both of his hands are during the time of your intimate interaction. It's very hard for me to believe that she didn't know that he was touching on her while she was having sex. It's no way. You, as a woman, know exactly where his hands and mouth and everything else is when he is in you. But I'm not God, so I can't judge. I'm just saying. It's kind of hard to believe that she didn't know. So this is a dirty little secret that has been kept, and it has spilled over in her life and other areas and aspects of her life. This is why healing is essential. This is why healing is necessary. And this is why breaking the cycle and speaking up is absolutely a necessary part of healing, because you hold that in. You keep that type of thing a secret, and it spills over into other areas of your life. Sitting in the living room, watching TV with my siblings, with my two of my siblings, two of the three that were there at the time. My mother was in the kitchen frying chicken. I remember, because I remember the smell, and I remember the television being on, and I remember how my sister used to be so drawn and mesmerized by the television that she never knew what was going on around her, and how my parents would have to call her name several times to get her attention while she was watching TV. Anywho, one of my older brothers, one of my half brothers who was living there at the time, told me, come here, and picked me up under my arms, under both of my arms, lifted me up and slid me on his lap. He picked me up and he slid me onto his lap, and I felt his erect penis on my butt. And this was while everybody was there in the same room. He had me as a child in elementary school, probably kindergarten, maybe the first grade, but I'm thinking I was in kindergarten, because around that time is when it started. And him just moving me back and forth on his lap while he grinded his erect penis on me. And his back, I remember his back facing the kitchen where my mother was cooking, and my mother was on the phone. And at that time, it was the phones in the wall with the long cords, and she was on the phone talking as she was cooking. And I remember her saying, "Aaron, get off of his lap." And I remember him pushing me on the floor, like just throwing me, like, "Get off of me," throwing me on the floor like it was my idea. And I remember thinking, like, just withdrawing and thinking to myself, why did he throw me on the floor? What did I do to him? Yeah, that one there, he was real bold. He was bold. And so how would I know that what he was doing was wrong when he was doing it around everybody, and he was depending on my mother to not pay attention? He knew my mother was busy mothering, parenting, cooking dinner. She was busy. Back then, the TV was our babysitter when we weren't outside running up and down the streets, and you had to be in by the time the light pole came. And a lot of times when the light pole came on, the good shows was coming on TV, like Fame, like the Cosby Show, you know? So you were running in the house anyway because hey y'all, the Cosby Show's coming on. And everybody was scattering, running the house. But he was bold. And I was a child, and I knew that intuitively what he was doing felt wrong. But he was bold with it. It wasn't in the middle of the night that time. It wasn't when everybody was sleeping. You understand? And I'll go to the bathroom, and he called me into his room. "Psst, come here. Come, no, don't go back to your room. Come here. I gave you a piece of candy. Just come here." It was none of that. Not this time. You know? So I'm saying this to say, I want mommies to pay closer attention to people that they allow to come into their household, because everybody that comes and smiles and grins is not coming with good intentions, especially when you have little girls and little boys. There are perpetrators out here, especially with online dating. And even if you meet somebody in the street, sometimes people are more interested in your children than they are you. So let's be cognitive about who we invite into our houses, who we invite into our lifestyles, into our lives. And when your child tells you that something is wrong, I need you to start listening and paying attention, okay? Your daughter is not in competition with you. She's a baby. She does not want your man, okay? She doesn't want him. She's not lying. Listen to her and believe her. Pay attention to the people that you let come around your children. Most of the time, it is somebody that the child knows and trusts. And hurt people hurt people. So it's infectious. You touch me, and it happens consistently. I start thinking that it's normal. I start touching other children around me. It's normal. Hey, this is what we do. And then they are forever affected. We are forever affected. You understand? We got to do something. We have to do something to break the silence, to start the conversation, to be open and to be honest, and to make this stop, because it has happened and it continues to happen in households across the country. I have another girlfriend whose stepfather would sexually abuse her. And to this day, her mother is still married to this man and still lives in the same house with this man. So every time she goes over her mom's house, she has to see this man's face. I don't get it. I don't. But I know we're going to heal. We are going to glow up. And everything is going to be better than fine.